one. I'll watch it side by side on here too.
All
Hello,
right.
everyone, and welcome back. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Lorcan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing
We
pretty well. A lot
awesome.
better now that I'm doing this podcast, talking about raising vibration,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was an exciting topic. I'm glad we're doing that today.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Let's see. What is this? Oh, that's the comments. Okay. Sorry, just getting refamiliar with my screen, guys. I feel like I got to get refamiliar every time.
Ooh, new feature. New thing, right?
Hey, I discovered on Susie's the other day that we can highlight chats at the same time. So it's
Oh.
become like a battle, right? So like one of us doesn't realize the other one's, I mean, you and I'll end up doing this too. But we add comments and we don't realize we're like fighting over adding the same comment or we're putting different comments. And sometimes it kind of becomes a bit of a joke.
Right.
So
Isn't it all though? Isn't it all?
yes, it is. So I'm also I noticed that in several of our broadcasts, I always do something weird in the beginning. And if you go back and watch them,
Okay.
it's hilarious. I say something that makes sense to me, and I'm telling this to the audience because I'm about to do it again. I say something that makes total sense to me. I kind of, say it halfway. You smile and agree, and I can tell you're like, "What the hell is she talking about?" And then I look back on the video, and I'm like, "What was I doing?" No one has any idea what I'm doing but me. It looks like I'm just like making no sense. So I'm
Oh,
going to do it again, everyone. I turn on and watch it on our YouTube channel while we are live.
okay.
If you watch the other two videos, that is not how I say it. It looks like I'm totally whacked out and like just making stuff up. But what I mean is, I always log on here and I watch this live. So, anyway, and Chris, it is your job. If I start talking about weird stuff, you have no idea what the audience has no idea what I'm talking about. Call me out. Be like,
I do, but what you say makes sense to me, so I'm just like,
oh,
yeah.
doesn't it? Okay. Okay. There are a few times I watched the replay and I watched your face and I'm like, I am the only one that knows what I was talking about. And honestly, I don't even know now watching what I was talking about. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But we should have a disclaimer, this is our opinion or based on where we are in this moment. It
Absolutely.
might change after we watch the show.
Oh, welcome everyone. I did not share this as far and widely as I should have yesterday. So hopefully we will have a wonderful audience today and people that show up. Don't forget, I want to put a reminder on there. It's in the banner, but if you want to comment today and you want us to see your comments and you're watching on YouTube, you need to make sure that you're subscribed because you can only comment if you're subscribed to our channel. If you're on Facebook, you want us to see who you are other than Facebook user. Please make sure that you log in through StreamYard, which is free. And then we can see you wherever you are on Facebook. So that way we can answer your questions and comments. We are going to talk about raising frequencies today. So you want to kick us off, Chris, since you laid out the title for us? I love it. I'm all about that.
Well, I mean, there's all these teachings of all these different modalities and ways to heal ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, financially, relationally, all those things. And when we really boil it down, for me, it's all a form of energy. It's all a frequency. It has its ebbs and flows, and it has its things. And when we're present, in the now moment, we can realize, hey, I'm in a funk right now. And what is it what's going on, mentally or emotionally, or what's going on in my circumstances, and then be able to use our awareness to shift that into, a learning lesson, into gratitude, into, I mean, one of the things that I've learned through, my own journey of going through struggle and strife and depression and suicidal things and all those things, is when I learned to be grateful of going through those challenges. I had a higher capacity to hold both polarities, of, well, here's what happened, but this is what we can do about it so we can get a better outcome than where we currently are. And there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I don't think there's a right or wrong way, because the only way you're going to know if it works or not is if you go through the experience of it. And, we were talking at the beginning of the show, I've been very fortunate over the last few weeks to go through a lot of different ceremonies of a lot of different types and some initiations and things like that. And, and it's done both. It's brought up a lot of positive, feelings and, a lot of good vibes, if you will. And then, when they're over, it's kind of like you settle back down, and it's how do you carry the ceremonies through everyday life? How do we honor, each other and the circumstances that everybody's going through, realizing that we're all an interconnected family, whether it's, energetically or, relationally in the physical now. If somebody's having a bad day or a challenging day, you don't want to keep dumping on them, but if you could open some safe space for them and, allow them to share what's going on with them and allowing them to find some perspective for them to move through that with appreciation, gratitude, acknowledgement, those types of things, we're ultimately raising our vibration. And, I think in relationships, a healthy quality relationship, whatever kind it is, whether it's an intimate one or a friendship or a professional one or whatever, those are so important. One of the things that you shared with me at the beginning of the show is, well, you don't need all that stuff. And I'm like, internally, I know that, but in some of my relationships and some of my, people that I walk with or whatever, they have these other opinions. And even though I don't own them or feel like they're necessarily absolutely true, I went and had healing sessions and did some other things to find out that truth for me, because maybe they didn't see something that maybe they saw something that my ego wasn't going to let me see, or, whatever you have it. So I think it's important in our friendships and our relationships that we do hold safe space and positive space for someone to be where they're all, to meet them where they're at, to accept them as they are, because then they'll transmute whatever they're going through pretty much automatically. What are your thoughts, feelings on that, Larkin?
Well, wow. Everything is energy. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, without a doubt, everything is energy. All energy has a frequency. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only transform. And all energy is conscious. So, that part is, absolutely, that's just universal, guys. I think that's something important to keep in mind. Where I'd like to tap in here is that one of the things you said was, when I ask you what, you don't need all that stuff, and you're going, yeah, but other people have other opinions. So let's talk about that for a minute. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about opinions and beliefs versus knowing. Now, from the human perspective, if you tell me other people have other opinions, and that's just my opinion, That's basing things on beliefs. If I step up to you and I say, but Chris, yeah, but there's a difference between belief and opinions and knowing. And what I'm telling you is what I know. To everyone listening, it just sounds like I'm being very egotistical. I think I know better than everyone else. I'm using the term knowing because I know, but you just have a belief. And the truth is there's no way around that for the mind. Even people who walked with Jesus, who walked with Gandhi, who walked with Buddha, who walked with a Maharishi, it doesn't matter who you are speaking to. You only perceive at your level of consciousness. So Jesus or Buddha could show up. I'm not saying I'm Jesus or Buddha. Jesus or Buddha could show up at your door tomorrow and give you advice. But if your level of consciousness doesn't know for yourself from the inside out what they're sharing, you can only take a teeny tiny part of that. You might even walk away and say, as people did with Buddha and Jesus, what do you know? Hi, Tracy. Welcome. What do you know? That's your opinion. Oh, they said to Jesus, didn't they? You think you know everything. You think you're God. Okay, well, let's just look at Jesus as just a teacher, just a human teacher right now, right? Let's take the religious aspect out of it. So you, in what you're talking about, to me, represent being at the precipice of your own transmutation. And I'm going to step in here and boldly say, there is a difference. There's a huge difference. And we know this neurologically, but there's a huge difference between belief, knowing, and opinions. Okay. So opinions, in my opinion, are like assholes. Everybody has them.
Okay.
They mean nothing. Honestly, if you give me your opinion, it means nothing. No offense. It means nothing. My opinion also means nothing. And I openly acknowledge that. We live in a world that puts so much emphasis on opinion. Why does it do that? Because those who are influencing society for their own benefit can easily brainwash us with the 95% of our mind we are not aware of in order to sway our opinion in the way that they want it. They spend billions of dollars on swaying our opinion. Mm-hmm. So it behooves those who benefit from feeding off of people in society, no matter what level that is, whether it's government, whether it's the top 10 families in the world, whether it's, a multi-million dollar, billion-dollar business owner, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Whether
marketing,
it's
right?
What?
Marketing.
Yeah, marketing. I mean, even a lot of coaches, there's a lot of genuine coaches out there, like myself. There's a lot of people that think they're genuine and they're not. And then there's a lot of people just on the bandwagon to make money, just using people.
Right.
And bottom line is, no matter what level you are financially at that using, it benefits you to use and take advantage of people's opinions, to sway and manipulate their opinions. And that's what's going on. And that, my friends, is exactly why opinions mean nothing. They honestly are valueless. And unfortunately, we're in a society where people kill themselves over the lack of ability to make a choice or a decision because they are afraid of other people's opinions, or they lose relationships, or they lose jobs, or they don't take on potential. They don't live their best life, or they're dishonest, or they're passive aggressive, or they're depressed because other people's opinions are such a concern to them.
Right.
And they make their choices based off of other people's opinions. There's a lot of pressure there, guys. That's the way our brain is made for survival.
Right.
And it's made that way because if 10,000 years ago you went against the opinion of the clan, you could be killed. You could be outcast. If you were outcast, you were sent to the cannibals across the river, right? So the same thing happens today, just in a different way. It's not as severe. You're thrown to the wolves, all right. You're just not thrown to the cannibals across the river. Okay.
Right.
That's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Belief is just repeated thought. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says to me, well, okay, like people, I have, my husband will say to me all the time, well, that's just your belief. We have this ongoing argument about this. Okay, well, belief versus knowing. We're going to get to the knowing in a few minutes, because if we really want to talk about raising your frequency, guys, you got to get beyond opinions. You got to get beyond belief, and you got to get to the knowing. And guess what? The knowing can only come from you. And you have to know something so strongly that you don't care about anyone else's opinions. You don't care what anyone else believes. It goes beyond your belief. There are a lot of things I don't believe or I believe in, but I know something different. So what is that difference? The knowing can only come through you. You can't prove it to anybody else. The only way you can prove a knowing to someone else is by helping them to know something for themselves. So, for example, when I do a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, they can believe me. I can give them proof, validation, and evidence for the mediumship, the spirit that's coming through. But that's not the same as knowing. I want someone to walk away from a reading and be able to know for themselves. Because I have the knowing while I'm doing the reading, but they have to believe me. They have to believe the spirit is there. They have to believe in the validation that's going through, right? It's a repeated thought of, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, grandma did have that little box. Oh, yeah, I was there. But isn't it 1,000% better when you know for yourself? So if that person leaves with a connection and they start to become sensitive enough that they can see and sense for themselves physically, that soul, that's knowing. And you know what? Then they call their sister, their neighbor, their friend, their coworker, and they're like, hey, my grandmother visited me last night in the astral plane. And that person's going to be like, I don't really believe in that. And then guess what? That person I did a reading for that was just in the plane of believing now has a knowing that they cannot deny.
Right.
Now, this doesn't just have to be through readings, guys. My point is that you have to be at a place of knowing. And when you know who you are, like, the same thing goes for who we know we are. So, what's an opinion of who you are? We'll use Chris as an example, audience, and then I'll use myself as an example. What's an opinion of who you are, Chris?
That I'm a nice guy.
Okay. So that's people's opinions.
Right.
Some of us might have different opinions about that.
Yep. Depends on the day.
Yep. Right? Depends on the day, the circumstances, how we know you, what our relationship is with you, if we pissed you off or not.
Right.
I'm working on that, making you always wait for me. Right?
Yeah. You haven't got there yet, right?
Right. I haven't got there yet.
I got a deep well.
But our opinions, so we form our opinions about ourselves based on others as well.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents might have said you were always a patient child, or you were always an insistent child. Well, we grew up with that. I mean, I'm an Aries, even though most of my chart is not. Most of my chart is water and air. But I grew up with a mom who had a best friend who did ancient astrology, real astrology, not fad astrology. And they were always talking about, and they both had Aries husbands and Aries kids. So guess what happened whenever Mom and Aunt Jackie were aggravated with their family? It all came down to their Aries.
Right.
So I grew up with an anti-Aries complex. So because of those opinions, it took me a long time to be okay with the fact that I was an Aries. Okay? Because it rubbed off on me. Why did it rub off on me? The next level is belief. A belief that all Aries are impatient, all Aries are impetuous, all Aries have to be the center of attention, all Aries. None of that was true. I had a whole freaking chart and a personality to go with it. But that was a set of beliefs that I heard over and over and over and over and over and over and over that became my belief. Was it true? Belief does not make something true. An opinion does not make something true. A knowing does not make something true. But a knowing is of a truth. So if you are living your life based off opinions of others, hi, Chrissy, welcome. Hey, Suzanne, welcome. If you're living your life based off of people's opinions, how high or low do you think your frequency is?
You know, the honest truth is it depends on the vibration of the opinion.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, of where they are, you know, and
Right.
and that goes back to, you know, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Exactly.
So when we're spending time with people that are, you know, trying to you know, heal the planet and heal humanity and be creative and bring new things to life and that type of thing, those opinions will be of that caliber. And then on the vice versa, those people who are trying to stay in their comfort zone,
Right.
you know, their opinions are, well, that's just what you have to deal with. That's what you have to, it is what it is.
Suzanne says my late husband was a Gemini. Love them. But see, so here's the thing. And you're a Leo, Suzanne. Cool. All right. See, this is fun. But we can have all these beliefs and we identify with people's opinions that we make our own because they're contagious. Even if it goes in that 95% we're not aware of. And then we identify with our beliefs of that. And other people pass their beliefs on. So when we're living according to opinions and beliefs, we're giving our power away to something outside of ourselves, which automatically lowers our frequency. Oh my God, you're a Capricorn. This is great. I love knowing what you guys are. This is brilliant. But so let's go into the knowing. What's the difference then between living a life or living at least part of your life or making decisions from belief and opinion versus knowing? As soon as you're coming from a place of knowing, and you got to be really careful here. Oh, Chrissy, you're a Cancer. Oh, we're getting a whole variety here. This is great. when you're living from a place of knowing, you have to be very careful. Then you're not confusing it with belief. Because people will say, oh, I know. But if it's a belief, that's your ego. Belief is mind. Knowing is consciousness. And knowing goes beyond that realm of where you can prove it to somebody else. So everybody can say, wow, you know, you're really you're really a crappy person. And you can know better, or that can be your belief and opinion. But the point is it doesn't matter if you know who you are.
Yeah.
That's something you can know. And so if we're talking about raising frequency today, if you want to have your highest frequency, you have to be in alignment. If you want to be in alignment, you have to know who you are. The more you know who you are, the more in alignment you are. Because the less you will allow external opinions and beliefs to affect you. You can create and develop as a human. We have a mind, so we need beliefs. We will have beliefs no matter what. But the question is, are they coming from your knowing? Are they a reflection of who you know you are? What synchronizes with you? Or are they a reflection of other people's opinions? See, those beliefs can go in the middle of knowing and beliefs. So, you know, if you guys want to raise your frequency, stop trying to figure out who you are or figure out who you want to create and get back to remembering who you are as that being before you came here.
Right.
I need to shut up, but I want to share this, Chris.
No,
Eckhart Tolle's wife, it's really cool. Because if you read about her, you listen to her interviews, she had multiple psychological diagnoses, very severe. She was bipolar, schizophrenic, suicidal. She had all sorts of complex things. She was on medication her entire life. And once she became aware, once she just awakening, disidentified with thought and realized that her thoughts were nothing more than her thoughts that she was experiencing, that she was not her thoughts, all that went away.
Right.
She got off all of her medication. She doesn't have any of that anymore. She's a peaceful, joyful person. And so this is a potential for all of us, but it comes from that place of knowing she's not living from her thoughts anymore, identified with thoughts that are full of opinions and beliefs. She's now living from the knowing of who she is. And her frequency went from here, boing, to there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if, and we can take this into anything. We can take this into manifesting or healing, like Chris was talking about, So I think that's really important. Thank you guys for the little the stars, for the hearts and the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. So what do you think about that, Chris, as far as like, raising the frequency for healing, like you were talking about some before, and for manifesting?
I mean, I really think they're one and the same. I mean, they're different labels, right? But what we're talking about, at least for my opinion, right? Is we're trying to get to this state of acceptance. We're trying to create something to where we at least for me, like trying to manifest my dream business or my dream life, is for me, the knowing is that I'm already where I need to be. And that belief is allowing me to move forward beyond the now, which gives me actions and things like that. And healing would be the same thing, right? Like right now I might have an ailment. Maybe I'm feeling a little under the weather. We'll use physical and not so much the mental, emotional. Having that feeling, that knowing that, that's there, and then being able to go do something about it, take some supplements, go get some fresh air, do an herbal concoction, whatever it is that we need to feel better or think better or to experience better.
Yeah, I think something you said there is very pertinent. And for those of you who don't know, I have been a transformational and manifestation coach for over 15 years. And interestingly enough, one of the things that comes about is now I'm at this very difficult point in teaching people in manifesting, because what I've discovered is, on a whole deeper level of true and authentic manifesting, what I've been taught, what I've been teaching, and what worked isn't even really what we want. And I don't even know how to say that to you guys. I'm just like spitting it out. Because if you go back to what a lot of the great master teachers have taught over the years, the great spiritual teachers, like the Zen masters that teach, if you really want peace, if you really want bliss in your life, if you really want to live your best life, per se, they don't say it that way, want nothing. And so the line I want to differentiate here is, one is ego and one is consciousness. You can't sell consciousness. So if people want you to buy a program or get into this and that, they have to sell you something that you want to buy, that you are willing to give money for, because you want it. You have to emotionally want it. Well, guess what? Emotion is the mind and the body. Guess what that is? Ego. Not feeling, emotion. 1 second, Suzanne, I see your comment. I'm going to let this thought flow through and then I'll get to your comment. So what Chris was saying was just so pertinent. And it was really about being satisfied with where you are. Things you were saying was reminding me, it's not about, we're talking about, we're sold. It's just such a fad now. And I used it. I mean, it was in all my marketing and everything because I really wanted to help people have their best life. My first goal was to help people stop struggling and suffering and then empower them to manifest their best life. Well, guess what? If you surrender and you align and you remember who you are, you don't have to do any of the work. Your best life will be handed to you. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to focus on it. You don't have to try to align with it. You don't have to do all the little techniques that I've taught people that work. But it's a lot more effort. And here's the thing. Your higher self, your greater self, your true self, spirit, the universe knows what you want already. It's already trying to offer you what you want. And here's the other kicker. It's not about what you want. What you want is ego. Ego wants. Soul already has. So really what humans are doing in this attempt to manifest in our discovery that we can manipulate our physical reality with our mind is it's actually an ego trip. Mm-hmm. And I just knocked everything I've done for the past 20 years. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. As long as you guys understand that it's a lot more work and it's mindset work and it's mind. And in the end, sometimes you get there and you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. But yet, if you align, you will get better than what you expected. You want anything because of the way it makes you feel, right? As Abraham Hicks is famous for saying. But the universe will already deliver you your best experience, your best feeling. If you learn to align instead of trying to force a manifestation. Let's see. Suzanne says, by the way, we update on my friends. Dog Samson. So she was on my broadcast yesterday. He's home from the veterinary surgeon and really pleased with his recovery and operation yesterday. Yay, that's wonderful, Suzanne. Thank you for the update. That's wonderful. Let's see. Suzanne says, you get what you need, not what you want. Yes, thank you. I love that, Suzanne. That's so true. You get what you need, not what you want, if you allow it. But if you go after what you want, it takes you a long time sometimes to get what really is going to give you the best experience. I don't want to say best experience. Words are so limiting. The experience you think you want, right?
Right.
Here's a great question for us, Chris.
Yeah, I saw that.
He says, how do you align?
Oh, look at that. The new thing. I'm just blown away that there's a thing on.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool. Do you wanna field this one or?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I mean, for me, aligning is being in the present. And being in that feeling now because you're a creator. It's God, words are so limiting.
They really are.
I mean, one of the things that my clients experience, after an energy healing session is how much they've shifted, how much energy has shifted, how lighter they feel, how different they feel. And I don't know how it works. I mean, I would never sell anybody like I don't know how. It just does. And that's the knowing, right? Like it's something in the energetic exchange between the intentionality and putting the effort in. And it happens. It happens for you, or a lot of people say it happens to us. When we can shift to it happens for us, we learn that everything that's given to us is a gift to get us to that highest alignment. There's a saying, memes going around right now that I really, because I've had so much experience, challenging experiences in my life. They say, you want somebody that's experienced grief in in your life, because they know how to go through things without losing themselves. So I think those are gifts. So I think we're always aligned, and the only way we get out of alignment is when we allow the beliefs and opinions of our ego or other people to tell us that we're not exactly where we need to be or who we need to be to live the life that we want to be experiencing.
So I'm going to read this from Suzanne, and then I'm going to add to what you said, because I think that's brilliant, Chris. Suzanne says, my late mom always said, what is for you won't go by you. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, based on what is for you won't go by you. Okay, so let's kind of back up and take that there and add it to Tracy's question. How do you align? It is a universal law. What you put out must come back to you. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal. I believe it is very important to recognize ourselves as whole beings, as eternal souls that were here before we were born and will be hereafter, will exist after, that temporarily, though, have this brain, this body, and this mind. They're three different things. While we're in this physical form, we are complicated. We have been made complex. What is simple has been made complex. The mind is like a projected physical version of our consciousness, right? It's like making you have a gigantic wedding cake and then you make like a mini cookie out of it. Okay, that would be like the mind. It's like a manifested replication of our consciousness, but it's so much less. But it allows us to be in this world temporarily, right? What's interesting about humans is that as eternal conscious souls, we can manifest like this. But can you imagine what a disaster that would be? If you were angry at someone, if somebody was mad at you and they were like, God, I wish she would just drop dead. Can you imagine? Boom, you'd be dead. Then we'd have to be, oh, whoops, I take that back. Ooh, God, right? Think about the world for just a minute, the way that it is, the people that you know, the drama that we have, as indecisive as we are, as confused as we get, as long as we procrastinate making decisions. Can you imagine what a mess life would be if we all had this capacity to instantaneously manifest like we do when we're not here and non-physical? Yikes. So instead, we're given this slower vibration where we can practice our manifesting. The problem is we are given a mind as a tool. And for everybody, until you consciously awaken, which 99.999% of people will not in their lifetime, it takes over our lives. Because we live in a world that hasn't yet realized and keeps us from remembering who we are. The more you remember who you are, the more you can be present. Now, you don't have to remember who you are to be present. I want to get back to Tracy's question about how do you align. Chris, he nailed it. He nailed it. You have to be present. Now, do you have to be present 24/7? No. The most powerful and only place to manifest is in the now. The now is not a segment in time. Everybody thinks the now means it's in time. It's not. It's in between the seconds. It's the now is God. This is going to be hard for you guys to swallow, but just go with me here on this. Just roll with me on this. The now is so much more. It's not just time. It's not just a state of being. The now is all there is. You are the now. So when we can focus, like all of my coaching clients are all required to read The Power of Now. That's their book. There's a bunch of other things we work on, but that's what they have to read. Because when you get the now, everything else starts to make sense. So I totally agree with Chris. And I know personally, aligning is about being present. But most people are not going to even ever know what the now is, because most of them are too caught up in their thoughts and too impatient and too busy to really ever get in the now. There's a million excuses. I can't read the book. I put the book down. I can't listen to it. It's too boring. Whatever it is, I can't still my mind. Yes, you can. You're just choosing not to. Sorry. Everything's a choice. And when we say something is not a choice, because we always have an internal choice into how we respond to something, always. We're given that free will. And believe me, I've been there. It doesn't matter if you can't see a way out. It doesn't matter if you feel stuck. You always have a choice. And you are making a choice at every moment. So even if you say, oh, I got to wait, I can't make this decision. That's a choice. If you're putting off making a decision, that's a decision. You're giving your power away to external circumstances, or you're waiting for someone or something to force you into a decision. And you know what comes from that? I know from doing this myself. Misery, struggle, suffering. When you learn to step into your power, that's how my Powerful Choices name came about. When you learn to step in your power, everything changes. Now, Tracy says, where can I read this book? So you can listen to it online for free on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube for free. You can get it. It's not too expensive now. You can order it on Amazon. He has a, probably the least expensive one is just to get the soft cover, regular Power of Now book. And the thing about the Power of Now is he's talking to your consciousness. That book was written from consciousness to consciousness. So he's written it in little segments. You might just read one page a day and let it sink in. Okay? You're welcome.
There's a workbook that goes along with that too.
There is. Just make sure you don't just get the workbook. Do you have that workbook?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you can do to stay focused on it, I tell my clients to read a little of it each day. Now, I want to share this with you guys. So about, oh my God, 25 years ago, maybe 22 years ago, Easter was coming around. I wanted to give my friends and family a gift. There was a new bookstore down the street from me, the one in Westchester, Chris. It was the Barnes and Nobles.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I was like, I'm going to the bookstore. Got out. I'd never heard of Eckhart Tolle. I'd never been in this bookstore before. I didn't know where the New Age section was. I didn't even know what I was looking for. I just wanted to get everyone a book for Easter. I park in front of the door. There's a parking spot right there. I never park there. I always park far away. Right next to the door, get out, walk in, walked straight back to the New Age section. I had no idea where it was. I was just like, why am I walking back here? I walk over to a particular shelf in the New Age section. I knelt down, and on the bottom shelf were like 15 Power of Now books. I bought all of them. I didn't know what I was buying. Why would I buy that many books that I didn't know? My soul knew. I saw the name of the book. It resonated with me. It was somehow I knew it was the validation that I needed. It was the piece to my puzzle that I needed. And I spent the next 17 years, I still do. I have read that book every single day, every single year, nonstop since I bought it. Why? Because there are very few people on the planet that I can relate to as humans that get it. And with all the people I interact with, I need to surround myself. I need to have interaction with a human that gets it. And someone I could really look up to and learn from and constantly have to get it. Now the book is like it's alive because every time you read it, you get more out of it. So when you read it, you will get whatever you need out of it. For 17 years, I read this book and got breakthroughs. And then one day, when I had hit rock bottom, I just had a breakup. I couldn't find a job. Everything was a mess. And I did what I always did, and I got it. I got what the now was. And, Eckhart Tolle said when he had his awakening, he sat on a park bench for 3 months and did nothing. I sat in my backyard for 3 weeks like this. I realized I had spent my entire life in my head. As much as I remembered who I was, as conscious as I was, as spiritual as I was, as much of a cosmic memory as I had, the cosmic memory still came through my mind. I was in the now. And it was like, I know what people say when they say they're born again. Well, not everybody really is when they say it, but I know what the real meaning of it is now. Because I saw colors. I saw all my senses were heightened. It was like I was sensing things I'd never sensed before. I felt so much more alive. My life was a mess. And you know what? All I could see was how perfect it was. Everything was perfect. I had nothing to complain about. Nothing. And I couldn't understand how I had ever thought it was anything less than perfect. Now, why am I sharing this? And I know I need to shut up, Chris. I'm sorry, but it came to me that I had to share this. I had to share this. This is not me trying to be egocentric or egotistical or boast about myself. Everyone has this potential, and I share it only as an example that anyone can do this because it is your true nature. All that happened was as I connected to consciousness as Eckhart because I kept reading the consciousness Eckhart Tolle had written, and my consciousness kept connecting to it. Giving myself the chance to do that every day had made it enough of a habit that I was able to poke holes in what I call like the black helmet on your head. Like your ego, your mind is like a black helmet. And in the front of it is a movie screen. And everything you think and you're told and you believe and is habits and repetition, you see on this movie screen, and that's what you believe. But outside of that black helmet with that movie screen is reality. Not the reality you make up. Reality as it is. And reading that book started poking little holes, and little bits of light started coming in through that helmet. And when I got it, it was like the whole helmet was taken off. Now, did I stay in bliss? No, you don't ever stay in bliss the whole time you're in life.
No, it would be great though, right? We're trying to get back there. Yeah.
But I knew what it was.
Right.
And so as I got sucked back into life, now I can be present. And I didn't know at the time that being present was being in the now, but it is. It's like what true meditation is. It's being conscious while you're awake. Being the consciousness that you were before you were born and will be after while you are actually awake. And so, I first did it by trying to get in between the seconds. Like I was looking for the now in between the seconds. But the truth is if you can just stop thinking for just 2 seconds, even 1 second, you're there. Because what pulls you out of the now, past and future, it doesn't actually exist. So here's how you know the difference. And this is how you align. If you are, ask yourself as you go through the day, am I in the future? Am I in the past? If you're nervous and have anxiety and anticipation and worry and stress, you're not in the present. You're in the future. If you have regret and depression and sadness and anger, you're in the past. If you're projecting your past into the future, that's even worse, which is what we do. So when you are truly at peace, you're in the now. And most people are always, your ego always wants to keep you in the future and the past because it can control you by making you worry, by making you depressed, by telling you you can't. When you're in the now, you're free. So what is the best thing you could ever do? Learn to be in the now. That means learn to be silent, learn to be still. Learn that your thoughts are just thoughts, nothing else.
Yep.
And whenever you have a thought, you're in the future or the past. So I know that's a lot for one sitting, but that is how you align. When you align in the now and you toss out, oh, what if I had my own business? What if I could live every day being joyful and doing what I love and I'm passionate about? You don't have to say that once. What if? Then stop thinking about it. But the last thing I'm going to say here is it's practice. Mm-hmm. Practice, 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 practice. Keep in mind, it was 17 years. I read that book every single day. I took notes. I made index cards. I got myself into that way of conceptualizing so that I could conceptualize beyond thought. So for each of you, that would be a different journey. Mm. But the book and getting in the now can help you no matter what level you are in. And I should give the rest of the show to Chris.
Well,
too long. And in 15 minutes, I do have to get off because I got to take.
No, we're about wrapped up anyway. But I think that's also, one of the components, or at least from my experience and, talking to other people that go on plant ceremony journeys, it opens the window to the possibility, and it goes beyond thought because there's things that happen that your rational mind can't process. So it opens you up in ways to know that there's different timelines and different frequencies and different things. And we as energetic beings of, yes, physical form, but energetically before the physical, before the dense form, we're a higher frequency. And so, like, as you were saying, Larkin, the what if? Well, what if I opened up a business? Well, that what if will be possible when you follow that path, and put action behind it, put energy into it, put effort into it, whatever it is. And then that can become a manifestation in reality. You got to dream it before it can become, a tangible. And we bring it through tangibly through our actions. I don't know anyone that was, not wanting to be an entrepreneur and someone just says, here's this business that I've already got up and going, rock and roll, and just run it. I don't know people that have that's happened to. But I do know that, I have achieved those things in my own life by that what if, not knowing what I was going to do, not knowing how I was going to go get it done, just go forth. And, maybe it's read a book or maybe it's go talk to some people, whatever, but it comes into manifestation through intention, and that's any spiritual ceremony. The most important thing in any energy healing or anything else that we can do is the intentionality of why we're doing what we're doing. And leaving it at that.
Sorry, I'm blocking a spam person here.
Oh, cool.
Love how we get those. I had a bunch of them on my one from yesterday too. So yeah, I mean, I think that you guys can think of, manifesting in a couple of different ways. And I think that, what Chris just said, is you really have to be, I'm glad you enjoyed that, Tracy. I think this is such a powerful conversation because you will get where you are frequency wise, no matter what you think you're manifesting and think you're wanting. You will always get what your frequency truly is. And this is where people get caught up and confused. I mean, I've seen this for 20 years. You think you're doing one thing, you think you have one frequency going on, but really you have something else going on. Right. And this is where self-awareness and being aware of, I can't say this enough. We create our life not with the 5% of our mind that you guys are listening to us here, that you're thinking, oh, this is nice. I like this. What great conversation. They're helping me. That's your 5%. But your 95%, that's all the programming. That's all the beliefs. That's all the opinions stored in there. Those are all the fears and the blocks stored in there. Those are all the habits you've learned from other people. So as we become aware of those things or we step just into consciousness and those all fall away, then we can align. Let's see. Do this. Suzanne says, I take a craft class to help others make their own creations. I never thought I could even be capable of doing this, and I feel so good about it. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, life will surprise you if, you're going for the feeling. So if you just go for the feeling, even if you don't know specifically what that looks like, you don't have to know the how and you don't have to know what it looks like. But if you know what the experience from the inside out feels like, and you practice that feeling, that experience, which comes through what? Which you started this whole broadcast out with, Chris, gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's why the why is so important, right? Because the why is more of a feeling, why it's important for you to move in that direction than the how. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many different paths to lead to the same destination. But when we're looking for freedom, I think that's what most of us are seeking, in life is a sense of freedom, a sense of peace, of acceptance. When we realize that it's there, we just might not like it. Because it comes down to choice and responsibility,
right?
And that's the kicker. You can project that you're a joy fairy all day long, but then when you're cussing at somebody later on in the day, it's like, are you really as joyful as you want to pretend yourself to be? Because that's your persona. That's that character that we try to create and maintain our ego to be able to navigate in the world. And I love what the Dalai Lama says about balance and all of this stuff. And it's when somebody gives you praise, remember the critics, and when someone criticizes you, remember those who praise you. Because if you're using outside opinions to help justify your place in this reality, there's going to be both. And if not, you're living under a rock.
Right.
I mean, everybody's going to have their opinion of you. You know, I mean, yesterday I helped somebody out with something. You know, I jumped in dumpster looking, someone's purse got thrown away, and I jumped in a dumpster to look at it, and everybody couldn't believe that I would do that. And I'm like, but if that was you, wouldn't you want someone to do that? You know, well, yeah, but well, okay. Like no one else was volunteering, so here I go, you know, like whatever. You know, and it was what it was, you know. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find the purse, but you know, she was able to find acceptance that it was gone. You know, if no one was willing to jump in the dumpster and go through, you know, the stuff, you know, she would have still been in this incomplete place of it's in the dumpster.
Did
But
she get in the dumpster?
no.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And that came later, right? But you know, and truthfully, she didn't probably even have time to process it, because she she asked me and some things, and before I even talked about it, I was in the dumpster, because that's just how that's how I operate.
You are, Chris.
It's like, oh, I can help. Woo! You know, like you know, sure, you know. And you know, one of the guys was giving me, you know, credit, and was like, you know, you're way better than me. And I was like, no, actually, you gave me gloves, so thank you for that. You know, because you know, I didn't even think about it. Was just like, hey, somebody's in need, somebody's in help, I can help. This is how I can help. So I just went into action mode. And you know, and then, you know, as I started opening up trash bags, I'm like, man, this is disgusting.
Oh, God.
You know, like, and he's like, can I get you some gloves? I'm like, that would be lovely, thank you so much. You know, and you know, and that's a community thing. You know, that's what we're, you know, to me, that as human beings, that's what we're here to do. Is to help each other along.
We're here to serve.
Right.
And I know I have to get off in 3 minutes, but I think that is important, because we've talked about community on this broadcast. We've talked about raising our frequency today. Such a great topic. And we're going to be talking about gratitude too, guys, because these are all key components in really what it takes to really manifest. And you're right, Chris, like really, we're here to serve. We're not here to be served. What you give out reverberates within you. And Tracy says, thank you both for this evening. You're so welcome. Suzanne says the small group of people in the class, okay, help their confidence and open up to capabilities. Yeah, absolutely. And that's also another example of community.
Absolutely.
When we have these small groups, I mean, that's why I do masterminds. The small groups where people can build trust. They have things in common. And this is really important because, you know, one of the things that one of my favorite martial arts masters ever, Marehi Yushaba, the founder of Aikido, said is, when you bow to the universe, it bows back to you. If you do that, some people have religious aversions to that. But when you do that, like in Aikido, out of respect, we would bow to each other, bow to the universe. I always do that as a way of being humble and surrendering. And every time I do it, I feel that reverberate, that sense of reverence that arises within me is so profound. And that ties in with the community, being here to serve others, whether that be plants and animals or an environment or another person. We are here to honor and to serve. And when we do that, it always comes back to us in ways we cannot imagine. We build up grace, a lot of good karma, but we also build profound quantities of grace that are bestowed upon us when we do that. So you got a lot of it coming at you there, Chris.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
anyway, I think we need to shut down for today because I actually have to
Yeah.
run my husband across town. He doesn't have a car this afternoon, but I want to thank you all for tuning in with us.
Thank you.
Suzanne and Chrissy and Tracy. And is there anybody else I missed on here? It was amazing having you guys on here. Thank you. We're
Thanks.
on.
That was
I'm
fun.
sorry.
No, it's great having comments. That's fun.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is new. This is a brand new broadcast. So, you guys can, like our YouTube page if you like. We're really combining very down to earth practical conversation with energetic spiritual healing and conversation on here. And this is brand new. And like and invite your friends, and we're going to have new neat topics next week. Chris, did you have any last words? Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you for your energy and your participation today. There would be no purpose without everybody that has taken part in the present and in the future, right? So, so
yes,
thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, let us know, guys. Let us know if you get the power of now and try this alignment thing for your manifesting. Remember, it takes practice. It's not going to be overnight, but it will definitely pay off and has the power to really transform your life. And Chris, thank you as always. You're amazing.
And I would just go to top that if you get the audio book, you play it at night when you're sleeping and allow it to rewire your subconscious.
Serenade. Yeah, that's a great idea.
So, that's one way to get out of the egoic thought trap. Just
absolutely
let it play, and it will marinate.
Let it play, and it will show you the way.
Yeah. So thanks again, and enjoy your day. Thanks so much, Larkin. Appreciate you as always.
You too, Chris.
And we'll talk real soon.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.